Cuba, an island 90 miles away, only 90 miles away, but with a place in 20th century history like no other. Now, last week reminded us all about this when Fidel Castro, the communist revolutionary who played a prominent role in bringing the Cold War to the Western Hemisphere, died at the age of 30. Now, his reign, often described as one of the longest-running dictatorships, lasted nearly half a century as he held power without elections longer than any other living national leader except Queen Elizabeth II. He bedeviled 11 American presidents, and his antics pushed the world to the brink of nuclear war during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Today, we are joined by three members of the Boston Cuban-American community who, like many in Miami, have openly expressed their feelings about the passing of Castro. Joining us this morning, we have Regla Gonzalez. She's obviously in the middle. She's been living in exile for over 40, 50 years? No, 40, here in Boston, and has been a very active member of the Latino community and has never been back to her homeland. Jose or Joseph Rodriguez, who arrived as a youngster in 1970. He worked for a Boston mayor, worked for the MBTA, and has also not returned to Cuba. And rounding it off, 18-year-old Jakob Rodriguez, born in Boston, but whose mom, Kathy, is Cuban, which has given him a very strong affinity toward the Cuban-American experience, so much so that it has inspired him to be interested in studying international affairs and U.S. foreign policy. Welcome to, I almost said Urban Update, Revista Hispana. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
Yeah. So I got my Cubans on the show. I think this is the first time we have 4 Cubans on the set at once. So that means we have 5 opinions.
Right.
And we have to breathe.
Yeah, we have to breathe. So let's take our turns. Let's go back. I know later today we'll be doing some another similar segment like this on Urban Update. But I want to go back to a little over a week ago, Joseph, when you got the news. I know it was late at night on a Friday night or Saturday night. What was your reaction?
Well, Castro is being 90 years old. And everybody was expecting that sooner or later he was going to die. But the reaction was kind of, did he really die? And I was really surprised. I was really, I would say, happy in a way that coming from Cuba in 1970, escaping from Cuba in 1970, lost my friend who escaped from, with me. And just going back to everything that is happening in Cuba and knowing what he did to the Cuban people, I was kind of celebrating inside me in terms of, okay, he's gone, but knowing that nothing is going to change, knowing that his brother is there. If his brother passes away, then he got people already who are going to be taking over the government. So it's something that I had to deal with it.
How about what was your just first reaction?
Joy. I was very joyful. We have been waiting 57 years for our country to liberate it from a dictator that has oppressed its people and has violated all the human rights of this world. I'm not joyous and I'm not happy of someone dying per se. It is just a new era. And history has proven that we will have politicians that last 50 and over 50 years, and there is a change. Change will come. How soon? That's what we have to be at the expectation. And we are asking the international world and the national in the United States to support the plight of the dissidency inside Cuba.
So you both were born in Cuba, right?
Correct.
Many years ago. Now, you were very much like me, born here in Boston, but grew up in a household where the Fidel Castro discussion must have happened at almost every meal every year, right?
Yeah, Fidel has always sort of been kind of like a boogeyman to me. He was kind of like an almost mythic kind of monster. So ever since I was a little boy, I was like waiting for him to die, and like I didn't really understand what that meant until I was older. But even then, every time I went to Bandera Cubana with Regla, I would say "Que viva Cuba Libre," and I understood what that meant. Right. That one day after he is gone, we can get to work on rebuilding our country.
Yeah. Now, does the passing of Castro mean that for you both, you're one step closer to going back? Will you go back soon, or are you thinking about it?
No, I will not go back to Cuba unless 3 things are done. Political prisoners are left out, there is public elections, and there is the freedom of every single Cuban in Cuba to elect their rights and freedom of expression.
How about you?
Well, I wouldn't say that I wouldn't like to go back to Cuba. I haven't been there since I was, younger. And I got family there, and it would be really nice to go and see my family, before I died, right? I don't want to wait till I'm 90 years old.
It's a very strong
So it's a combination of that, and then inside you know that, like my friend who didn't make it, and that I might be unrespectful to him, to his memory, that here I am, I'm going there. I'm going, basically, when I go there, I'm going to be helping the government in a way that I'm going to be using, the American dollar to buy things. Yeah. If the people of Cuba was going to use that money, it would be something different, but that's going to go to the government, so I don't know.
Yeah. Now, for you, young man, I remember you are a BC High guy, right? So
yep.
I'm a BC High guy, and I remember in high school saying to the guys in high school that I've always wanted to see the day that the Red Sox won the World Series and that Fidel Castro died. I would say that, and I got texts from BC High guys because a lot of them didn't understand while I was in high school. Is that still kind of been for you?
A lot of people, when I got back to school that week, they were asking me, hey, what did you think? What happened? Can you explain to me what this actually means? I kind of slept through the Cold War in history class, so I had a couple questions, but there were a lot of people that were like, yeah, you must be happy, right? And I was like, yeah, I am actually quite, so.
Yeah. So what's next for the Cuban community here in Boston? Is it wait? Is it see? Is it?
Well, we are working and very close, working with Miami people and all its people in charge. You have heard the Lincolns and Ileana and Curbelo, a recently elected 32-year-old state senator in Miami. They're all working, influencing the government of the United States, our president, to be tough.
Tougher, yeah.
Tougher
on the Castro.
Well, to be tougher and to take all of the things that were done wrongfully, take them back.
Very quickly, Cuba's been, everyone's been talking about, have you felt a lot of non-Latinos, you're still explaining it to non-Cubans?
Absolutely. A lot of people, they don't understand, the system in Cuba. It's not like here, you have freedom to speech, freedom to express yourself and all of that. And they don't understand that if you say something wrong being Cuban in Cuba, then you can go to prison.
Consequences.
Well, right now, they're putting everybody in jail. The ladies in white, they have people standing in front of their homes.
They're currently cracking down more during the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
And now.
Since December 17, 3 years ago, there have been more political prisoners and people asking for asylum and people jumping into the ocean, coming to the United States than even before.
Because they know that because relations are improving with the United States, and they know that in a few years they won't be able to do that anymore, because when you have relations with another country and somebody flees, generally if you have an extradition agreement, you need to send that person back.
Well, we're going to have you have the last word on the segment.
Again, the question mark is why so many millions of Cubans are still fleeing Cuba. And the famous Italian airline who was supposed to go to Cuba from Italy, and basically they have a problem and they have to land in New York, and then like 12 or 15 Cubans stay.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much. We're going to continue the show, and I'm sure I'll see you around, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Coming up, we go from one Caribbean island to another as relief efforts for the victims of the devastating floods suffered in the Dominican Republic. The details in just a moment, right here on Revista Hispana.